All right, all right, all right. We are back. This is the It's Your Perspective Talk Show. It's Tuesday, about 8:29 p.m., September 30th. Yeah, our guest tonight is WasaI, longtime friend back in the day, still friends today.
Yes, I.
He is here in the studio. There he is, right there.
Direct.
Live and direct. There he is, right there. So, what's happening, man? What's going on with you these days? How are things, man?
You know, happy to be here on a show that I think is, record. I think y'all have something here that's groundbreaking. You know what I'm saying? And I think y'all could go pretty far with it. You know what I mean? Like I was a Christian Carter, media group. You know what I'm saying?
Here and there.
This is something groundbreaking, and I'm happy to be here and see, two brothers. You know what I mean? Taking it to a level that, media, have a voice out there, have a perspective, what I'm saying, that's different than, what's the popular, what the media wants to say. You give the people a voice.
Yes.
And a chance to participate and say what they, how they feel.
Yeah,
so,
man.
I happy to be here and see something, that go a pretty long way, as what's needed.
So Was, man, I guess we're gonna just start. Just asking some general questions. Just give us your perspective on a few things, like local stuff. We're gonna start local. You don't answer, don't have to answer. If you got a perspective, got a perspective. I got a perspective on all this stuff. But just give us your 4, 5, 6 cents on this whole thing of.
I'm not gonna commit to anything that's gonna cost me my life.
Okay, most definitely not. Most definitely not. We want you to do that at time.
No, man, we want you around.
You know how St. Croix could get.
Yes.
This whole thing with a particular senator is bouncing back and forth in court. You think it's nonsense? Or, she got this big party this weekend.
With me, you gotta get specific because I'm apolitical, what I'm saying? Politics is something that, we have to admit that is a reality in this life we're living in, what I'm saying? But we have to admit that is about time that we find a better way of administrating the people's business, what I'm saying?
Okay,
Yes,
okay, that's for sure. I believe that wholeheartedly. And Soup, she's got this big...
So what exactly you're talking about? You say you're she, what I'm saying? Who are you speaking about, what I mean?
We tell nameless stories, so I'm not gonna say a name, but if I just use the keywords running for senator, in and out of court, she got a big bash on Saturday. Hopefully you know what I'm talking about. Who I'm talking about?
I think I know what you're talking
about. Okay. I finally heard the her lineup, and I'm like, wow, she's bringing some top-notch people here, and I would imagine a lot of money is being spent to make that happen. The thing is, the vibe that I get through Facebook is that people are like, I want to go and party on Saturday, but I don't want going there to give the impression that I'm supporting her. I don't know.
So what do you think? You don't think that would be hypocritical?
Do I?
Yeah.
Of course I do.
Oh, okay.
Of course I do.
If that's the mentality of the individuals, I don't know. You know what I'm
that. That's kind of a, in a kind of a sense, we're promoting a kind of a mentality that, in a sense, when in reverse, we complain about it, what people think. What people gonna think, what people,
Yes.
If you want to go there to see Destra for free,
that's what you do.
When the time comes to go to the booth, who you gonna cast your vote for? You know what I'm saying?
That's a whole
different thing.
So, game, yeah.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I ain't gonna fight against, what, like I said, I'm apolitical, what I'm saying, and whatever is, whatever when it comes to politics, what I'm saying?
Okay.
So,
Okay.
But
switching gears here, this chicken guanya.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard that the Department of Health Commissioner was on another show, I think last night, and she officially said it was an epidemic here. But I don't know if you guys know anybody here in St. Croix that's being affected by that. But I talked to my brother Eric again, who lives in Rock, and he said he knows another person that's like down hard from that. and I don't know how that is like affecting people over there, in a sense, and not affecting that many people over here. I didn't hear that interview last night, but um, I guess you got to be careful. Is it some kind of trick going on there? I mean, is it?
Sound like you need Darius Plaskett, Commissioner of Health here. You know what I'm saying? A few questions like that. You know?
Just tough questions, right?
Yeah, and then there's some respiratory infection going on, A1, again too. So
Oh, really? Okay.
if a young child is really have a bad cold, you have to really watch it because it's some
It
respiratory.
could be something, yeah.
Yeah, too. So
Yeah.
with the chikungunya and dengue and everything else going on, I guess. And our hospital is being decertified, fellas. So I mean, that's
Yeah.
another hot
Oh, yeah, it's real hot.
issue here that's hitting the territory. I mean, the elderly ain't gonna be served, not the poor, and we can't afford that right now.
I know.
You
We
know?
can't afford none of that right now.
Yeah, so
I don't know. They're just battling, I guess. I guess the hospital hired an attorney.
and then this is the whole issue for me because they said the hospital ain't got no money, but yesterday they bringing in all these high-end attorneys to do the bidding for them. So what's really going on? You know what I mean? And then they pay they give the brother Kendall, the CEO, they give him 300 grand
Yeah.
for 12 months.
This is new. This is like recently.
Yeah, the board is officially on because they have to have a board. That was one of the reasons why the hospital was in decertification because of the not having a board and having a full quorum.
Okay.
to
Okay.
operate. So the board is in place now, and they
You
give
got,
the CEO.
got members all of a sudden.
Yeah, I guess they had to find it. There was an emergency.
Oh, really? So they just hired.
Yeah, so
What does it take to be on a board like that, man?
I don't know. I guess you gotta be a doctor or know something about health. I would think.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
I don't think you have to know something about health because if I understand, they had nominated what's his name? What's the pastor name? Skeppel, Dexter Skeppel. They had nominated. He was once nominated to be on
Oh,
the
okay.
hospital board.
He was for the hospital board.
And
Okay.
then he decided he was going to rescind. He decided he was not going. He wanted him to rescind his nomination. So I don't think you have to do nothing with health. You know what I'm saying? And
So how long was he on the board? You said he's not on anymore?
no, he
I guess he was getting
they had his name up
nominated.
nominated to be
Yeah.
on the
Okay.
board.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, I got
So I
you.
don't think you have to be anything to do unless he have a degree in.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So how I feel about that certification process? If it's something feasible, you think you're gonna go through? You think you're gonna go through, Wasi? They say up to October 9th. They have until the 9th, so they got 9 days from today.
You know, I don't know. I guess talk shows have to serve a purpose. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to, I guess what you're going to send out going to probably be the wrong
No, but
forum to be
but
said.
it's your
to be said,
perspective.
but,
It's your
know,
perspective.
but-
It's your perspective.
Instead of getting on a talk show and giving, saying what, having any idea, probably everybody have a right to their opinion, but, I think, your opinion as far as something that you can handle, this is something that we're getting people are being paid, to handle these things, what we need to do is start demanding that these people who are getting paid to handle these situations start, start coming up, and start,
Start doing their job.
start doing their job, what
Yeah.
I'm saying, and start to produce, results.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To sit down and, what I think, what you think, that ain't gonna change the situation. What we need to do is, y'all getting this, you have senators, you have the board of health, you have, you have a board,
Board of Education.
doctor, board, board for the hospital board, and a director for the hospital. These people they're getting paid.
Yes.
So what is, where's the results? Everybody can have their opinion, but what's my opinion going to do as far as whatever they claim in the certification? It has
Yes,
to be
sir.
something. From what I understand, there's some serious allegations, giving people medication from what you hear from the news,
Right.
that,
Yeah.
that they didn't, not taking care of,
Patient
unhealthy
care was
situations.
lacking in a sense.
Yes.
Patient care was lacking.
That's something that, that's within means, that All that take is just caring and just doing your job.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I think you gotta start demanding to people that if you're providing a service, I demand, that service.
Service,
You know,
yes.
and the compassion that goes with that service. You know what I mean? I don't see nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? I don't think you have to get paid to, to do your job with a human attitude. You know what I mean? Like, be kind, be nice.
And that
treat someone
job-
like a human, caring.
And that job you take an oath too. You understand? You take an oath to perform our services when you go to in that profession. You understand me? So everybody, you're right, have to be held accountable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw some of the things that they said were wrong, and I read some of them. I thought, patient care was what was lacking. Seems like, I don't know, nurses weren't doing what they're supposed to do, and because of that, some bad things happened. Is sort of the impression I get, but I don't know. That place has just been a mess. Luckily, I'm not I like to say a sickly child, and I'm there in and out every other week. But
Well, I know Mom been in there for 5 days, and she was taken care of.
The situation varies. You know what I mean? There's people
so-
who go in and they get proper care, and they got people who who go in and
Yes,
claim there wasn't.
yes,
And I
yes.
guess that's gonna be in any hospital you go. But you know what I mean? If we're gonna really have an opinion, and we're gonna have some solution to this dilemma that we're in as far as health care as a people, you know what I mean? Because as black people, we're on the bottom tier as far as people who we have the least insured, you know what I'm saying? And because we're the least insured and because of the situation we live in, we're the ones who most need medical care. And when this care is not being provided for, we don't have access to this kind of care, we're the ones that are suffering the most. So the only solution to this thing is demanding that our children go to school, demanding, a proper educational level, pushing them to the level as far as, providing this service, for our own community, instead of always hoping that somebody gonna come and provide that for us,
gotta do it ourselves.
We gotta start providing and doing it
Yes.
for ourselves. So we gotta start investing in the future, For now, the situation we're gonna go on now, is happening, but we got to start investing in the future, and that's our children. We got to start getting them to school, and we got to start giving them that, education as something that is for their benefit, as something that's fun. It's not a punishment. It's not a chore. This is your life.
Yes.
This is our life.
Our life. That's
Yeah.
right. Our life.
You mentioned one thing there, Was. You talk about education, man. And we all know there's a lot of things that are going wrong with education, but education is so key. Early education. First, second, third grade up. Getting that basic foundation. I know we all come up in a different generation, but we can all agree that some things are going wrong with the way kids are raised and the responsibility of the parent and the responsibility of the school and just all this madness.
Education starts at home.
At home. That's the
Yeah.
first university.
Education starts at home, and if you have children that go to school that's enthusiastic about going to school, there's places in Africa, there's places in third world countries where children just be able to have a school to go to, is a joy, and where did our children, where did we lose this love for education? Where did our children, where did going to school started being a chore, a punishment, Where did our joy for going to school? Where did we lose that joy for going to school? Where did our children lose that joy for education? That's the things we need to start really, looking at. And like I said, it starts at home, At home, the first thing you're supposed to be teaching, but if your child could go to school and know how to say F-U and can't spell it, but know how to say it, F-U-K, or whatever, I'm saying? What was you telling that child when he was smiling? What was your conversation with that child? Because
Using that word, yeah.
Yes.
A, B, C, D, that should be the first
First thing,
the first
come out,
conversation you're supposed to have
yes,
with your child,
yes,
A,
yes.
B, C, stuff like that. And showing, sitting and reading with your child, but we have so many distractions and, in life right now, we have so many excuses for why, we're not doing this, why this is not happening, or why that, And the very simple things is what we lack in, It's not nothing major, it's not money, I'm not to do with money, You can't say we don't have money to do this or not do that, because we are people who came from a time where we did things when there was no money.
Yeah.
We are
You know what I'm
miracle
saying? Our
workers.
greatest achievements was when they didn't have money.
Miracle workers.
We were the labor. So where did this thing where this excuse as money become an excuse? We don't have money to do this and not money to do that. You know what I mean? It's like I said, there's children in third world countries who don't go to school to this day. Have shoes, but they're happy to go to school.
True.
Because they realize that education. Is a joy. And like in this culture is where do we lose the joy for education? Where did it become more favorable to be 12-year-old and look like be dance like a stripper? You know what I'm saying? Where did it be 14 years old and can't see past 19?
Yeah.
Living to 19, 21, or young men. Where did that? Where would they lose that joy for life? You know what I'm saying? Where? We can't. We could look and we could have our kind of opinions, but like I always say, start at,
Well, there's
start at home.
Yeah, it starts at
too,
home.
Because what I've been noticing too, that if the parent is not into education, then the youth gonna come up and don't want to be educated also. They're gonna feel slighted. They're gonna not want to do the same thing. It's very hard, very rare when it's reverse. That the parent don't care and the youth excel is because the youth really, really wants to excel.
Yeah.
But to me, if the adult in a home that child is going to and is not seeing no one is want to do education, or education is means something to them, then they're gonna feel the same way too. That why am I doing this?
Well, like you said, there's an exception to every story, because when I used to take Liz to school, there's this I don't know, politically correct to say Puerto Rican, Hispanic, whatever.
Yeah.
There's this Puerto Rican man, used to bring his son, and you
Yes,
familiar
I.
with who
Yes,
I'm talking
I.
about.
Yes, I.
And this man, you could see as far as education, excelling educational wise, then, as far as, wasn't probably as educational adept, but he used to drop his son to school every morning. You know what I mean?
Yes.
One thing I admire, every morning he'd bring his son to school, and he
Yes.
would just drop him and leave. He'd come and he'd sit there and he'd wait until his class start, talk to his son. And to me it was like he was showing his son like, I didn't make it that far, but you could go far, you know what I'm saying? And they gonna push yours, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
to have your father, be able to take you to school every day, although, he probably wasn't even that well in school, It set an impression, and to this day, his son excelling, fighting, as youths, to this day, but there, we would have probably be stopped back
Exactly.
and be left back, you know what I mean? And so, like I said, we don't really have an excuse, because every excuse we make, there's an exception to the excuse, there's an exception to that story, you know what I mean? So every possibility you have, every avenue you have, we need to take advantage of that, you know what I'm saying? You might not have a job, you might not have that, but then, you can sit down and, and push your child and let them know, look, education is the only way, right now we think, everybody think they could be the next Jay-Z, the next Beyonce, you can just shake your butt, you know what I mean? And,
Yep, and get what you want.
Get what you want, you know what I mean? Talk, you know what I mean? And whatever, you know what I mean? But that's only just Beyonce and Jay-Z, that's just one in millions, billions, you know what I'm saying? So, education gonna never lose its luster, and it's gonna never lose, it's never gonna lose, its ability to take anybody any person to that next level. You know what I mean? I don't care, you could be a poor person, you could be in jail, once you have education, that education gonna make you stand out above everybody else, even in the prison where you're in. You could be a poor person because your education is gonna put you at a different, it's like a parachute,
Yes.
It's like a cushion, it's everything, no matter what situation you're in life, even if you're rich, because you're educated, it's gonna make you be able to enjoy your riches.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
it's something we gotta start,
Yeah, that's what, and as you said it,
and pushing.
And as you said it best,
Community.
it ain't no excuse. Basically, it ain't no excuse for it. It ain't no excuse for not having it and not wanting to do it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. I want to another thing here. Actually, before we jump into that, is there anything that you want to talk about, man? I know this is your first time on the show here. Anything that you want to you want to say? I mean, is anything you're passionate about anything in particular? Um, you know,
Yeah, whole night.
yeah. Hey man, we say 8 p.m. until man. We 8 p.m. until Soup likes to say
Yeah.
we control this, so
We control this.
we just go until we go. But anything in particular, man? Maybe there's something that something in particular. Because I'm just going to ask Ryan a question, but maybe there's something in particular you want to talk about or address or say, or discuss. Just let it roll, man.
Well,
This is free speech, as we like to say on this show, man.
and I know little island, St. Croix. We said the Virgin Islands, you know what I'm saying, but I'm not really familiar with the other two. I only can speak specifically for St. Croix.
I know that.
So, talking, I always look at in St. Croix and the Virgin Islands, we have this unique opportunity that we don't really take advantage of, you know what I'm saying? We don't look at ourselves as a dot, you know what I mean? But the fact that we are a U.S. territory, you know what I mean, and we had 7 flags, you know what I mean, flying over us and all that kind of stuff. We have an international flavor, you know what I mean, that we don't really take advantage of here, you know what I'm saying? And, this little island, as far as, we might talk as a small little dot on the map, but, the greatest sentence in the world, you know what I'm saying, it's not complete without a dot, you know what I mean, an exclamation point, you know what I mean? If we're going to be a dot, then let's be exclamation point, you know what I mean? And we could take there's things, we could, there's trends we could set because, for the size we is and, for the talent that's here, and the skill, you know what I mean, and is being drowned, and it's being obscured, and it's being, it's not being taken advantage of because, we find ourselves being misled with other people's problems, problems that really ain't really our problems, you know what I mean, it's really problems that other people think should be your problems, you know what I'm saying, because when you look at the LIAC and the WAPA and all that kind of stuff, that ain't really nothing that I and you could do anything about, you know what I'm saying, the only thing we have to do is, you know what I mean, if you can't find the money, you know what I mean, we learn to do it out until we find the money, you know what I'm saying, and, and, the roads, you know what I mean, the condition of the roads, we could do about that, but, we make do with it, you know what I'm saying, and we allowing, like I said, people who getting paid to handle these things not get away because they could come on the radio on a talk show, whatever, in the news and give you an excuse for why they can't do it when you get, this exorbitant pay and whatever, but that ain't what I want to get to. What I want to get into is, we overlook a lot of the simple things here on this island as far as the flavor that we used to have, the neighborly love, we so want to look at the bigger things and, and accomplishing the bigger things, the little simple things will just pass by, you know what I mean, like, when you drive along the road, you have to have a car, you first have a car, you know what I mean, you drive along the road and you see a little old lady, an older person, a lady with a children, somebody with a shopping bag, you know what I'm saying, stop and give them a ride, you know what I'm saying, you can stop and tell somebody good morning, good afternoon, you know what I mean, these simple little things, is what does build camaraderie and build, love within the community and the neighborhood, you know what I mean, we talk about having this and, whatever legislation to have this whatever, you know what I'm saying, there ain't gonna be nothing if the people ain't living together in love and unity, you know what I mean, we allow this ghetto mentality to just take over, you know what I mean, and become a universal thing, and you know what I mean, and it's not a black experience, it's a Jewish experience, you know what I mean, and we have this ghetto mentality, and to me it's the antithesis to education, you know what I mean, and to what education and culture, you know what I mean, could do for people, and we use it as an excuse for not expressing our, you know what I mean, our compassion to one another, you know what I'm saying, and as a people, wow, if we're supposed to sit back and really look at what the benefit, we have provided to, the world, to humanity, you know what I mean, it is unbelievable, you know what I mean, but we have this perspective in life that, that we were slaves, you know what I mean, and, we allow somebody to tell us what we were and to define a character and define a history and define a whole being for us, and we're not looking at the very things that make us, that make us a people, and that that make us, that make this great country America what it really is our character, that we provided even under the most brutal circumstances. We still showed love. You know what I'm saying? We was true to our mission. You know what I'm, to show the people, to build a character that defines a civilization. Was what we provided. And when we learn, to express these simple little things, good morning, good afternoon, let's, hey, squash that, somehow exorcise this ghetto mentality that we like to express and we think is fashionable. You know what I'm saying? We can
fashionable, eh? You can buy it at the store and put it on your back.
Like
and
I
it's
said, I
weird.
hope you have a whole night, just rambling on, what I'm saying? But there's so many things, and, we, like I said, it's easy to point fingers about, everything that we're not doing right, but there's nobody really pointing out all the accomplishments that we have accomplished, and so our people and our children don't really see a future that's bright because, as much as we like to segmentize everything, there's past, present, and future is one. You know what I mean? The future is built on what we accomplished from the past. And if we allow our people to define our past as being dark, slavish, with no accomplishments, and no contributions, then what our children have to look forward to presenting? You know what I mean? If they felt like if they were told that they didn't come from nothing, you know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know why would anybody, think that being defined as a slave or being classified as a slave is a good thing. You know what I'm saying? But I stand, that's something I really, really think that as a people we need to sit down and assess what this word or what this passion, and this history is really doing to us as a people, But, that's a whole dissertation right there.
Yeah, you need to.
And it's old, what
That's
I'm
a
saying?
thesis for the master's degree. Eh?
Yeah. And we need to promote that, what I'm saying? We need to promote that, there's people amongst us with PhDs and stuff, we have Yaba, Natty brother,
Yes,
he's a doctor,
yes,
what I mean? A PhD and the doctor of agriculture, what's his name? Peterson.
Peterson, yeah.
We need to promote these things, what I mean? That these are people, amongst us who, are men of letters.
Yes,
what I mean?
I.
And
Yes,
that,
I.
at least in that, we should have some respect for them, what I mean? And have some kind of a way to honor, what I mean? And show,
I got to change the mentality that because they look at it as you being a nerd or being, like you're not hip or whatever the case may be. You understand me? So because I've been taught to look down on education, and they themselves don't want to get no education, so they're not gonna big up. They're not, when they see a next individual like themselves, they're gonna say what, they're not gonna promote it in that sense. And I don't think they feel good about it. Sometimes you think they feel good about it sometimes.
Well,
Me and you
what's
will.
the question again? What's the question again?
If as you said, we need to big up the Yaba,
Yeah.
Dr. Peterson within the community.
Yeah.
Most of our communities, most of the young people now today don't want to be an intellectual because they feel that if they be intellectual, they'll be called nerds or they'll be called nerdy or whatever the case may be. Now, today it comes full circle again. When we look at it, it's as you said, it's very few of us out there we could say as intellectual doing it because of what? Because we stem education, we throw education to the side. We don't honor education because we don't like education.
Well, again, there's been a cutoff. They succeeded in having a cutoff as far as education and what the necessity that it has in your life, in the human experience, in the human life, and a lot of things that they promote, is you don't really need to have an education, to be the next Miley Cyrus, to be the next Beyonce, the next Jay-Z. I'm not going to pick on these, like I'm not picking on these people's accomplishments, you know what I'm saying? Because that's accomplishments within their own rights, you know what I'm saying? But that's their accomplishments, and what is your accomplishment going to be? And like I said, as far as education and this whole idea of money. We promote. We allow somebody to tell us, well, money is the common factor to accomplishing anything in life. And we as a people, we know better than that. Our experience, our whole history is, we were the economic force of this country. You know what I mean? It's our sweat, our labor, our ingenuity, our skills, that built this country, that made America great. Not only our skills, like I said, our character that we exemplified in America, that made this country great. And like I said, there became a time where, where there was a cutoff. We allow, TV, the media, and that's an excuse in itself. We just gave up parenting. We're gonna say, well, you never had, something gonna say, well, you never had time, and use that. But that ain't really no excuse when you really think about it. Like I said, to every excuse, there's exception to the excuse. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah, so I wanted to ask you. I kind of when you said something there, and it made me think about something. A question to ask you. What are your thoughts on? There's been a lot of talk in the news lately about whipping your kids as a form of like disciplining them. This football player, Adrian Peterson. I don't know if you heard. He got a little trouble for whipping his kid. I guess drawing blood, whipping his kid with a switch. And the whole debate of raising your kids, is whipping your kids is the right thing to do. I personally, I got my ass beat, but I never really beat my son. I was the kind of parent that more just talked and took away all the nice extra. But some people, believe in like whipping.
While we're talking, have I ever used the word kids since for the night? Have I used the word kids?
Kids?
Referred to children as kids?
No. Young adults, babies are
no, I just want to make sure because again, I'm old enough. I think I'm old enough, to see and watching the transition of a culture, and the imposition of a culture, and there's terms that we never used to use, that was not, was indigenous to other cultures, and the very word kids, later I noticed that's how we, refer to our children as kids. And that was how, how Caucasians refer to their children as kids. We stand to have a culture superimposed on us, and we willingly going along with it because you choose your own words. And we got to realize that the words we use, defines you, the mentality, the way you think, and if the words you use is based on another culture and it's promoting another culture, then, we're going along with the very problems, one of the very problems, that's causing, that's causing the dilemma within the community, and so I'm not going to be the one to, to tell one, to choose words and stuff, but, like I said, I'm old enough to remember when, that was the only thing Caucasians referred to the children as kids, and as far as the question was, I think the proper word should be, correcting your child, disciplining your child, punishing your child, whatever. It depends on the circumstances, and I don't think there's nobody right to, remove a parent's right. That's the last thing we need. We need to be, right now, we need to be promoting parental rights. We need to be promoting, whatever social, and have a segment on the talk show and parenting, because it's not really nothing, because it's not really, I don't see what's the excuse, for why, for the lack of parenting, because no animal don't really forget how to be a parent, saying, or anything that creates in life, is just getting back to the simple basic things, you know what I'm saying, and as far as this legislation, with Judy Buckley about we need to start to look at when we set precedents how far they're gonna go. We think in blocks. Okay, well, some incident, this child, the father beat him, draw blood, so we're gonna legislate, we're taking away, parental rights and all this kind of stuff. Where it's gonna stop. Okay, when you can't discipline your child, no, you can tell somebody you can't discipline your child. You can, whatever form of discipline, whatever. But you can tell them that if the child is caught outside the house after 10 o'clock, you're going to get into trouble for that. Suppose now you're telling your child, hey, you can't go see to talk to him, and you have to use some kind of physical form of, from deterring them from going out the house. Because it's against the law for being out after 10 o'clock. Now, this same child could call the police and have you in trouble because you're trying to not break the law. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, again, we have to be very, so when you're not able to provide the parental rights, you don't have parental rights, and the parental security and of being just being a parent, who is going to come in and take that right? You know what I'm saying? And
Yes.
and represent that right. You know what I mean? So we're gonna have a special organization. You know what I mean? We got to look at the precedent. You know what I mean? Of where these things can lead to. Not to be a conspiracy theorist to say that's going to lead to that, but then why set the precedent for something that is not going to be, it's not going to be in your benefit. And I think, like I said, we need to start promoting parental rights.
Okay.
Simply of being parents, have commercials, whatever, segments and being parents, what is the joy of being a parent,
Parents,
I'm
yes.
saying? And
Yeah.
nothing really hard, really.
Yeah. All right, man. Our guest tonight is WasaI, longtime friend of
Yes,
myself and Soup from way back in the day. We're still friends now.
Yes, I.
And he's here in the studio with us. We're going to take a quick break. And
It's your Perspective Talk Show,
Show.
Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 8 p.m. until 340-201-9005.
that's it. All right. We are back. This is the It's Your Perspective Talk Show, Tuesday, September 30th, 2014, 9:10 p.m.
Yes, I.
That's it right there, man. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We are on the internet. No radio, no TV. Hit us up, 340-201-9005. Text or call us on that number. 2 Facebook pages. VI Perspective is our Twitter account. Tweet with us. And most importantly, we like to tell our guests, WasaI, is that we are streaming from an undisclosed location. This is the high-tech, low-tech studio. Coming to you
Beautiful
live.
island of St. Croix.
Virgin Islands, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's it right there. Our guest tonight is WasaI. He was just giving us some insight on a few things there. But you were saying during the break that you wanted to continue on talking about this whole parental thing.
Here to share our opinion, I don't claim to be no expert.
None of us are, Was. None of us are.
I'm just happy to, maybe like I say, I'm happy to be a part of something that I see as groundbreaking, I'm saying, as far as media, but as far as parenting, that's just being, that's your right to be a parent. I don't think it should be nobody nobody should have the right to come and tell you what they think is the right way to parent, to be a parent, unless you agree to it, and you see that as feasible, a right, that is going to accomplish something within your family structure. We got to start exploring what it is to be free. We have become accustomed to this whole system of being dictated to, our thought process. And I guess that's one of the reasons why education don't seem like, like it's lost, because education is more or less imposing, an idea, instead of really teaching a child how to express ideas. That's really education, because education is supposed to open up your creative, your creative abilities, your creative side. That's that's the benefits of education. And when we speak about education, I think His Majesty, the greatest speech, and the greatest quote on education is Majesty. That, it's what distinguishes man, above other creatures. It was what defines man, you know, his intellect. What differentiates him from other creatures, you know. And when you have education where it's being, you know, children are at a creative stage, and when you're not allowing them to express that creativity, you know, then it's, you know, it's not going to have no appeal to a child, you know,
Yes.
because that's when you're at your most, you know, you're expressive, you know what I mean, you're innocent, you know what I mean, you know, you're not expressing yourself because of something you're seeing, or you know, it's just, you know, it's just innocent, it's just you know, probably a little bit of what you know you got from home or anything, but you know, but education, like I said right now, and you know, life is about, you know, imposing ideas, you know what I mean, and it's, you know, and it's ideas by people who don't really have your best interest at heart. You know, they just see, you know, it's just a idea that, you know, gonna profit you know, profit a system, create a, you know, a system, make you a part of a system, you know, when we need to express, you know, start realizing what it is to be free, how it is to be free to think. You know, we talk about free speech, but it's, you know, free to be thinking, you know, to be a free soul. Because that's what Christ come on, you know, that he's our great, you know, he come to set us free. Of all the things, you know what I mean, that he did, you know, that was the main thing, to set us free. You know, and we're gonna start expressing that freedom, you know, I'm gonna make you feel like to be free is something, you know, that's synonymous with chaos, you know what I mean, a Greek idea, you know, and a Greek philosophy, you know what I mean, and, you know, and as a people, we need to really start, you know, expressing what, you know, what is, because that's what we offer to the world, you know what I mean, what it is to be free, you know, the love of freedom, what can be, you know, what can be accomplished, you know, by being free. We did it under the most barbaric circumstances. So, you know, when I first started out, you know, I mean, like I said, as being a parent, I don't want you to think, you know, but I think that being a parent is just caring. That's just the basic definition to parenting. Caring is the basic definition to human life, period. Caring, you know what I mean? To anything is just caring. You know, I mean, if you're gonna care for your child, you know, no matter, you know, whatever, you know, if you have a plant outside and, you know, it's raining and it's in a pot and you really love it, you know what I mean, you really care for it, you're gonna run outside in the rain, the weather, you know what I mean, and bring in that plant, you know what I mean. So, you know, caring, you know, is what we need to start expressing. It's not really hard, you know what I mean. It's nothing that's gonna take you have to go to a university or school, you know what I mean, to just start caring, you know what I mean. You know, and if you don't care, keep it to yourself.
Yes, I.
Yeah.
Yes, I.
Anything else you want to talk about, man?
Man, come on. I've been talking. So, you keep the flow going, and you know, I mean, I'll follow. You know, so because some, you know, just being here, you know, I mean, some, you know, I'm just jumping, you know. But
Yeah.
I need to stay.
On a different note, man, you know, it's like less than 30 days before the NBA starts again, right? So, Wasi, who you got, man? Who you got?
Yo, I had my days in there with all that, you know, that kind of stuff, you know what I mean. And I ain't gonna deny nobody else, you know what I mean. You know, raining nobody else parade, you know, NBA and stuff. But I think I'm beyond that right now, you know what I mean. As far as, you know, as far as lending my mental powers, you know what I mean. I find other means of entertainment. NBA ain't it no more. Sports ain't it.
Oh, really? Okay, so who you got, Soup?
I'm gonna go LA.
You gonna go to who?
LA.
I'm gonna go with San Antonio again, man. But you know, LeBron is in Cleveland now, and then you know Chicago's got this cat from they traded him from LA to Chicago. I forget his name.
Paul Gasol.
Yeah, Paul Gasol. So they got, and then what's his name is healthy too.
Could I touch on that subject of sports? You know, I mean, we talk about sports. You know
Yes,
what I mean?
let's go on.
Yeah,
Let's go on.
yeah, let's.
Sports.
You know, sports is legal slavery. You know when you want to see, you know what I mean, slavery in action. You know what I'm saying?
Gladiator.
You know, we just look at, you know, look at sports. You know, look at you know, when we trade, you know, trading players, you know, buying players.
Souls of men.
You know what I mean? You know,
Souls of men.
you know, I mean,
Yes,
I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to rain on nobody parade, you know what I'm saying? But, as a people, we got to start looking, at the things that affect us, as subliminal messages, what I'm saying, that it promotes, what I mean, and we really need to start introspecting, like I said, as who we are. We're becoming extinct as a culture. When you become extinct as a culture, is very easy to just become extinct, period.
Right.
If we think that's a joke, what I mean, when last you ever thought about the Native Americans? When last you ever seen a show about a Native? When last you ever thought about an Indian, a Native American? They're practically extinct. You know what I'm saying?
Them, yeah.
As far as, there's still living, Native Americans out there, but as far as, as a entity, that's here, that's, we don't really think about them, you know what I'm saying? And so if we think that being extinct, is just, just because you're not physically here, you know what I mean? Like I said, think about the Native Americans. When last we ever thought about a Native American, if you think, just being physically extinct, just being physically not being here is being extinct, So we got to start, like I said, looking at the things that, the subliminal ways that things affect us, as a people, because, when we rise, the whole world rise, Our upliftment is the whole world. We uplift the whole world, and we need to start realizing that. You know what I'm saying? So that's our responsibility. Might say, I'm just, I'm a black person, I'm like this, I'm like that, but I still don't take away from the fact that you belong to a race that's their responsibility, the builders of civilization.
Yes.
You could, history, the people, archaeologists and stuff, they could go around a circle, but eventually you're going to have to go to the, the center and tell you, like, hey, it all started in Africa, and so we need to start taking, the responsibility, and like I said, just from earlier, just the basis, simple, character, the way we express, ourselves around each other, what I'm saying? Yeah, we might have our angst and our passion, we start to think of passion as something that's, only purely beneficial, but we say love is passion, we say, we say we're passionate about stuff, what I'm saying, but we gotta remember hate, jealousy, and anger is a passion too.
That's right.
So
Let me ask you another question, Was. I'm just asking questions here, just to
In the flow.
just to engage some thoughts. Your thought, your perspective. But what does it take to be? And I don't know if you would use the word leader, but we asked the question: what does it take to be a good leader? And so, from your perspective, what does it take to be a good, leader, person in charge? Whatever you want to call it. What does it take? From your perspective.
I just say it best, and if it's up to me, I think as a people, if we want to really understand the responsibility that we represent, and the character that we should represent, and the beginning of it all, I think we need to really start looking at Ethiopia. We need to start studying the character of His Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I. When you talk about, being a leader, I think His Majesty said it best, that, the world is full of people who wish to, take advantage of and, a people, but, the real leader is someone, who know to follow. That's the best. That's number one. That's the greatest thing of a leader is knowing how to follow. And because a leader is not some kind. We like to look at like I said, this whole slave mentality, this whole culture, this barbaric culture of of abuse. We implant that in our in our culture, and we look at leadership as something as being totally authoritarian. Do what I say. This is what I say and this is what I do, But when you're being a leader, you gotta understand if you're a leader, then you have people following you. You know what I'm saying? And what you doing is gonna affect the people following you. So to be a leader, you're gonna have to listen to the people what they So being a leader is also being a follower, as far as you know, as far as being a good leader. You know what I'm saying? And it's might to say, there's a time when all it took was courage and and bravery, but there's times where we're gonna need skill and to develop skill. We're gonna education again. Education and education is just at home. Like I said, you might not be able to read good. You might may think you want to hide that from your child, but I think that's a good standpoint there for you and your child. Because your child not gonna have a joy. Learning with you.
Yes.
And you're gonna start representing that joy again. Of what education is. It's just not about you getting a good job to make a dollar. You know what I'm saying? Is having the skill and the efficiency to be able to serve, and to be a good leader. 'Cause that's what we need. We need leaders. We need people who can serve, because that's what a leader is. He provides a service.
Yes.
And so, like I say, we think of things. We need to again be reminded of who we basically are as a people. What we represented. You know what I'm saying? And then we're gonna realize our purpose, and our true mission in life. And we gotta understand that these ideas that we're living is ideas that is from Greek, from the days of Aristotle and Plato and and these guys, who just all they did was just sat around and talk shit all day and philosophy, and they say, well, this is how life is, and this is democracy, and this is and so they implanted, and these people feel, well, from that time to this time, so creative it's a long time that creativity has been has been under the been under the knife, what I'm saying, because Greek thought was just at the time was a rebellion against against it at the time, because it wasn't freedom, it was religion. It was Persia was the empire that was ruling, and was religion. That's their way of ruling. Was of having the people obey. And to maintain authority was through religion. So Greek thought was at that time was rebellion. To be to free, and for the people to be able to think free. Yeah, it was a good thing. It was a limp in the right direction, but it was still a limp. You know what I'm saying? It was good for Greek. I'm nothing against Greek thought, but I'm not Greek. It's good for Greeks. What was African? What was African thought? What was African's contribution? And if we think when we study Greek history, the Greeks told you that they loved the gods, loved to be amongst the Ethiopians. The Greek gods, love to be amongst the Ethiopians. So then, what's your perspective as an Ethiopian? Not the perspective that's superimposing you, a Greek perspective, a Roman perspective, or whatever, Caucasian. That's good. I'm not. I don't think we have to be a counter culture. We have to contradict cultures. That's good. Greeks. What's good for what's Greek is good for Greeks. What's Rome is good for Romans. What's Caucasian is good for Caucasians. I'm saying. But we gotta understand that what we contribute, is universal. When we came over, our contribution to this great country called America was upliftment to the whole of Europe, the whole of humanity. You know what I'm saying? That's again, like I said, we need to start, having our perspective on history. What's our perspective? Well, that's why, I think this show is a groundbreaking thing, because, it's your, what's your perspective? We have ABC Media, we have Fox News, ABC News, and it's all, how they decide that they're gonna break down and, and the culture, and present news, and what they think, the information that we think we should know. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah. Well, I see we're gonna take another quick break here. We'll be right back. We are back. This is the HR Perspective Talk Show, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 8 p.m. until 340-201-9005. Our guest tonight is WasaI. He's in the house here, longtime friend. back in the day, growing up here, running the streets of St. Croix. He's here in the studio tonight with us.
Live and direct.
There he is right there, man. So as we move on here in conversation, Wasi, one of the things I wanted to ask you about is get your perspective on this whole thing of, weed, marijuana, whatever you want to call it. You know, there's three areas. There's recreational use, there's decriminalization, and then there's medical marijuana. So, just talk a little bit about all three. Let's start with the medical. Do you think we need it here? Should we have it?
Is it going to benefit the people?
Let me just make this disclaimer. The views expressed are not necessarily, are not necessarily the views of, it's a perspective talk show. This is just my, this is. Again, herb, marijuana, whatever you want to call it, herb, again, this is something that has been affecting us, we have been at the forefront of this issue again, and it's the position that we choose to take in these issues. I have nothing wrong, with the issue of I see no wrong with the issue of bringing it to the forefront and addressing it, as far as, because, it's affecting, a lot of people's lives, there's people who are in jail, for something that, it shouldn't have been criminal in the first place. When we look at right now, there's a great atrocity that's going on in this whole decriminalization and legalization. This is nothing new, to us. This is, Peter Tosh was singing about this from way back in Rastafari, been talking about, herb as a right before, legalization and before it become a medicinal thing, was the healer of the nation, This is nothing new, but what's new is the position we choose to take in it, as far as how it's going to be presented, and how it's going to be used, how it's going to be used, decriminalization, like I said, when we look at, when I look at what they call it, decriminalization, is really kind of like criminalization. You know what I'm saying? Why would you give up? Like I said, this is just my views. I'm not going to rain on nobody's parade, because a lot of people out there who, who looking for relief from being harassed, and being, criminalized for something that has nothing to do with being, with criminal behavior, criminal activity. But that's, again, that's the law of the land, and how it came about, that's arguable, arguable, and there's different reasons what, but again, like I said, it's nothing new as far as how it affects our community as Rastafari, as black people. When you talk about black people, who are going to jail for joints, and for stuff that, other communities was just paying minor penalties for. When it comes to the youth, we've been on the forefront, in the Caribbean. Let's look at this right now, in the reality of it. This thing called herb right now is boosting the American economy. In the days when Jamaica, Colombia, these so-called, third world countries now, because, the economic, position. Now, let's say Jamaica was allowed to, legalize herb and, make the living off of it, and was not prosecuted for it. That's an economic boost right there that Jamaica would have been enjoying right now, that would have been able to provide certain services that would have been beneficial to the people that they wouldn't have been in the position that they're in right now. They was giving money to criminalize this thing, to reap up, have to fund helicopter missions, the raids and all this kind of stuff, to promote, the social, whatever social aspect they wanted to present to it as far as a negative view. You know, and right now, the same country that was funding Jamaica and these countries to criminalize it and to control it, you know, is now boosting it and, you know what I mean, and legalizing it, you know what I mean. So the hypocrisy of it all, you know what I mean, like I said, is we can't really blame is us. What position we gonna take? What we gonna decide, you know what I mean? Well, you know, yo, that's good for you, you know, but this is the position we take and this is the position we see that is best for our community, you know, because when we look at right now, again, you know, how it's being, you know, presented to us, you know, it's not in our bend. You know, we talk about paying tax dollars, you know, to using herb now to pay tax dollars and to provide you know, we right now the money you have, you can't even do what you're supposed to do with it. No, you know, people supposed to you know, whoever, you know, herb's supposed to be the new source of revenue, you know. You know, how could you correlate that as an economic advantage when you can't really present no results for what you have right now, the millions of dollars that you have right now that you can't account for, you know. And so, I mean, like, again, you know, I don't want to rain on anybody parade because a lot of people looking for relief, you know, through, you know what I mean, through the, you know, the legislation and the legal aspect of this. But like again, I said, it's nothing new to us, you know what I mean. We need to approach it from what's beneficial to us. You know, the medicinal, you know, I mean, that might be, you know, I mean, might be good and all well for them. But what we need to do is from the beginning is, yo, it's a right. And you know, come and admit to yourself, you know what I mean, that, you know, these things, you know, the criminalization and all the propaganda you spread, you know, was basically lies. You know, you can't backtrack right now, you know what I mean, because, you know, is a part of the economy, you know, and we know how these people feel about money and, you know, what they could tax and what they could put their hands on, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, is what position we going to take, you know what I mean, as a people who, like I said, been on the forefront of this thing, you know what I mean? You know, there's people out here who, you know what I mean, is the lifeblood. You know what I mean? Right now, when you look at Colorado and California, you have people who going into storefronts, you know what I mean, opening their door and selling herb. The children going to private schools to be able to provide, you know what I mean, education, you know what I mean, proper education, you know what I mean. They're able to, you know, enjoy the benefits of this thing, you know what I mean. So, you know, what position are we going to take, you know what I'm saying? You know, they already set the precedent, you know, how are we going to deal with it? You know, you know, the criminalization thing, you know what I mean? Like I said, okay, decriminalize, but it don't have to be a their definition of a decriminalization. Their definition of decriminalization is really criminalization. You know, is going to still have the criminal element, because you're going to tell a man that, okay, you know, is decriminalized now. You could plant 6 plants, you know what I mean? You could plant 12 plants, you know what I mean? When before, you know what I mean, that man, you know what I'm saying? You know, we can't deny it's been a part of the economy and the social order for forever, you know what I mean? But for right now, because it's on the forefront as far as legislation and legalization, you know, you can't tell a man that, yo, you know what I mean, he used to be, you know, he used to have to plant whatever he had to plant that was exceeded 12 to take care of his life. No, 12, you know what I'm saying? You know, so then, yo, okay, I'm happy, you know what I mean, but how am I supposed to eat off of 12? You know, how am I supposed to live and provide for my family off of 12? You know, and I guess there's loopholes within their law and all that kind of stuff. But like I said, you know, why we always got to be taking the position that somebody present for us? Where is our position? You know what I'm saying? What is our position? And it ain't nothing new. We always had a position. You know, it's a right. As Rastafari, it is a right. You know what I mean? To take part in as a sacramental right. You know what I mean? It's a herb. You know what I'm saying? I can't say you could criminalize a plant. The coca plant is not illegal. It's illegal to produce cocaine out of the coca plant. The poppy plant is not illegal. It's illegal to produce heroin. You know what I mean? Out of poppy plants grow in California wild. You know what I mean, on the side of the road. As a matter of fact, you know what I mean, the poppy seeds in your bun,
Buns.
your burger is, you know what I mean, the same poppy you make heroin from.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Cocaine, you know what I mean, cocaine opiates is a part of, you know what I mean, a lot of the stuff that we eat and we consume. You know, so you know the hypocrisy of it all, you know what I mean, and we need to, you know, start making a stand, and you know what I mean, we lost that, you know what I mean, that joy, you know what I mean, that to make a stand, you know what it is to make a stand, you know what I mean, we stand for other people's problems, what other people think, you know what I mean, is, you know, is important, you know what I'm saying, problems, but like I said, this is something that has been affecting us, you know what I mean, and from the beginning, you know what I mean, it's something we've been a part of from the beginning, you know what I mean, it's been the lifeblood of the Caribbean, you know what I mean, the Caribbean life, you know what I mean, as far as, you know, if we want to admit it or not, you know what I'm saying, and, you know, there's a lot of people in countries, you know what I mean, in here, Jamaica, Colombia, all over, you know what I mean, that herb was able to provide them with a you know what I mean, a economic relief,
Yes.
you know.
What about hemp? Growing hemp and making products. I mean,
Again, you know, we allow people to present, you know, their ideas, and you know what I mean, again, in the beginning, when the herb producing countries used to produce herb, you know, more herb, America used to get a herb from, you know what I mean, such as you know what I mean, Jamaica, Colombia, Panama, you know what I mean, Thailand, all these, it was sativas, you know what I mean, and these plants, you know what I mean, was able to produce two types of, you know what I mean, of commodity product. You had the buds, you know what I mean, where, you know, we use for hash making, for whatever, you know, for you know, what most basically we use it for, you know what I mean, for smoking, you know what I mean. Then you had, because the stalks was the trees were so tall and so long, you had the fiber. You understand? We could have used the fiber. So
Yes.
this differentiation of hemp from herb, like I said, you know what I mean, that's, you know, that's a tactic, you know what I mean. Okay, you know, you know what I mean, hemp, you know, we should be able to use hemp because hemp don't have the drug in it and all that, blah blah blah. You know what I mean? That's them. But that's their argument. You know what I'm saying? What is our idea? You know, I have mines, you know what I mean? Like I said, that's mines, you know what I mean? We have, you know, we had the strains, you know what I mean, that provided hemp and, you know what I mean, seeds and herb, whatever you're going to use it for, you know what I mean, for whatever you know, for smoking, for making whatever healing, you know what I mean, whatever you want to call it, medicinal, you know what I mean, and all that kind of stuff, you know what I mean. Like I said, we gotta be careful with the terminology we use, you know what I mean. Sometimes, you know, we take words for simple, you know what I mean, and certain words present an idea, certain words is a, you know what I mean, you know, signifies a philosophy, you know what I mean, and we gotta start being cognizant of these things, you know what I'm saying, because, you know, we're a culture, you know what I mean, we're a culture that practically saved the world, you know what I mean, is a boost to the world, you know what I mean, and we need to start expressing that, you know, and in any little simple, you know what I mean, way, and like I said, you know, in this hemp thing, you know, we need to start getting, you know, because back to, you know, the original, because, you know, we've been following now, you know what I mean, somehow we you know, was ahead and now we're behind, we're following, you know, the latest trend, you know what I mean, is not what we, you know, what trend we presented as a trend that's going on, we're following into it, and, you know, and it's just, you know, it doesn't serve us, you know, not making us a slave, you know what I mean, making us, you know what I mean, it put us in servitude, you know what I mean. When we used to deal with herb, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Herb was herb, you know. I don't have nothing to hide, you know what I mean. Herb was herb, you know. Herb did what you're supposed to do. You got a meditation, you know what I'm saying. Now we have, you know, other people, you know, presented to us, and, you know, whatever, you know what I mean. You know, I know it ain't the same. I don't care what nobody said, you know what I'm saying. And
well, let's talk about let's get your perspective on a part of growing agriculture.
In a sense, do you think what that we need to start getting back to that? Because my whole thing, one of the thing is the biggest thing here on this show was that I always say that if a man-made if a man-made disaster or a natural disaster happen here, can we sustain ourselves for 7 days as a people here on this one island? So, what are your thoughts on agriculture, growing food, sustaining ourselves?
Again, when did we end up, on this side of, agriculture having to be a main topic where we are now agriculture is a problem to us when we were the agriculturists. That was one of our main things. We not only, we planted the fields, we tended the fields, when did we become, on this side where, all of a sudden agriculture is a problem, we don't want, again, is we're having a culture imposed on us, we became accustomed to a certain, and is, again, this is just my opinion, just present an opinion, but, in the reality of it all, again, we need to start taking, the forefront of what affects us, agriculture is nothing new to us, like again, we're from the agriculture, but that's in the Caribbean, agriculture was the main, so when, all of a sudden agriculture become a detriment in the Caribbean, where we have to be begging our people, to plant, in agriculture and all that kind of stuff, I think, again, when you hear about agriculture, we hear people presenting ideas that, that just to the people who listen is like, it's disheartening, there's nothing that's going to say, well, I think agriculture should be a field I should look into, because the people who represent agriculture, idiots, because really and truly, we talk about, the first thing we hear about agriculture, we talk about exporting. That's the first thing. We need to. We have this going to waste and exporting and all that kind of and export. But what about local consumption? If you can't satisfy local consumption, how are you going to export it?
Yes,
And export is a market. What about marketing? Again, we sit and we talk about agriculture. We sit here in this Virgin Islands. We drinking orange juice. That come from Miami, Florida, California, or whatever. Why do we drink orange juice? Is it because it's really healthy? They say so. Yeah. Because they market it. They market orange juice, as something that for you to drink in the morning, and it's healthy and all that stuff. When we have mangoes here, that provide a better nutrient level, a higher nutrient level because it's local and all that stuff, but you have to present the initiative, to market it. And to put the effort into marketing, and to put this thing out there. If you're not gonna put the effort that it takes to accomplish something, then we just sit here and we could just talk all day.
Yes.
We could talk about agriculture. But we have that's the problem with agriculture. We have too much farmers and not enough farms. Plain and simple. Everybody is a farmer. But what the farms?
Yes, sir.
We have little gardens. We want a tractor. And if we don't have a tractor, we find all kind of hindrance why we can't. We have all this labor force just around, because we don't present the love for what is our basic survival. We turn it into a task, into a chore, into a money-making enterprise. So everybody have the love of survival within them. But
yes.
That the love of money. They've been predicted from a long time ago, the love of money is the root of all evil.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
So, hey, if you think, if you ain't gonna make no money out of agriculture, then you ain't gonna have no love for, raising a plant, for eating out your own garden, for being able to go and take to your neighbors and say, hey, I grow something, Remember the day when, you could have just go and pick a mango from a tree, and present it to a woman, like, I picked this mango just for you, And the joy, of being presented with a mango, a nice mango, maybe you have female, like I said, there's always a, there's always a exception,
Yes,
to the rule. So there's probably women out there still, but these are things that are not promoting. There's marketing. We have people marketing an idea to us. We have people marketing a culture to us. We have people marketing their way of life. And if we're gonna sit back and don't have nothing to present, as far as who we are. You know what I'm saying? And we can just be always the victims and you know what I mean, and the opposite end. We can always be the recipients of policies instead of being policy makers.
Makers.
You know.
Yes, sir.
That's it right there, man. Yeah, our guest tonight is WasaI, longtime friend, man, back in the day running the streets of St. Croix,
Yes,
you know?
I run in the streets kind of thing, you know what I mean, kind of present the kind of wrong, you know what I mean, play the kind of wrong. You know what I mean?
We was doing wrong back in them days, man. But now we're doing good now. We're doing good now.
Like I said, the views presented of this show does not represent, you know what I mean. I don't know why I run the streets thing, you know what I'm saying, but you know, hey,
It was all love, man.
you know, we live, you know, we have to live, you know what I mean, and you know, the streets is, you know, is where, you know, where a lot of the, you know what I mean, a lot of the culture and a lot of the love came from, you know what I'm saying, and again, when we realize, you know, where, you know, what, you know, when you know, we show that love again, you know what I'm saying, without the glitter and the glamour of money and all the things that money could bring, man, and we're gonna find that, you know what I'm saying, the love's still there, you know what I'm saying, you know.
Just gotta dust it off, man.
It's just being obscured right now, you know what I'm saying,
Yes, sir.
you know.
I'm actually another question is totally different, but you talked about giving a mango to a young lady here. One of the questions that Soup and I talk about or ask is, do black men fear commitment and marriage?
Again, you know,
And you could answer that question like in two. In marriage is one part, and
well, there's no marriage without commitment. You know what I'm saying? There's, you know, and that's, you know, and again, what is our culture and marriage? You know what I'm saying? We live in, you know, family. That's the next thing that's affecting us. So when you talk about marriage and commitment, you're basically talking about family.
Family, yeah.
Because, you know, that's something that's lacking, you know what I mean, that family, you know what I mean, that family unit, you know what I mean, and it all begins with a committed relationship between a husband and a wife, you know, male, female, you know what I mean, a male husband, you know what I mean, a female wife, you know what I mean. I have my opinion, you know what I mean, and I'm not going to allow nobody to impose no opinion, you know what I mean. I know this is just this gay society, you know what I mean, all right, you know what I mean, you have your opinion, you know what I mean, but I'm not going to allow nobody to superimpose their opinion on me, especially when it comes to what's affecting family, because as a people, that's one of the things, again, you know what I mean, that's affecting us, you know what I mean, in a very negative way, you know what I mean, family, you know, because we don't have an idea, we don't, you know, we're not presenting an idea of what's family, you know, we're looking at what other people view of what family is, you know what I mean, and we forget that when you talk about family, that's what we represented, you know what I mean, that's what we taught. You know what I mean? Is, you know, that's one of the things we brought over here when we came. You know what I mean? Family. You know what I mean? Even when we were separated as family, we brought that to the very same people who call themselves the slave. I don't like to use the word slave masters, but you know, the plantation owners. You know what I mean? We showed them the value of family. You know, a lot of the times, you know what I mean, the first time they ever had anybody, you know what I mean, to put them on a breast and to sing to them, you know what I mean, is when our foreparents put them, you know what I mean, on the breast and sing to them and show them the love of family, you know what I mean, because we were separated from a family, you know what I mean, we remember that, you know what I mean, we start, you know, showing that to each other again, the same thing we love to show to others, to prove to others that we're human. When we start presenting that, finding that love to show it to one, express it to one another again, you know what I mean, then, you know, we're gonna have the very basic things of what it takes to build a family, and that's you know, because I was denied a family, you know what I'm saying, whatever my mother and father went through, you know what I'm saying, they was more important than, you know, what it takes to maintain a family. You know what I mean? And I always tell anybody who grew up in a home with a mother and father, you know what I mean? You should consider yourself blessed. You know what I'm saying? When a child grew up in a home without a father, you know what I mean? It's like being in a race. I look at it as like being in a race where everybody on the line, everybody who have a father on the line, and the children without a father, they're about 10 feet behind. You know what I mean? So when the gun go off, you know what I mean? They have to catch up to meet the line and then to catch up to meet everybody else because, yo, you know, a father, you know, what it takes to be a father, a man, you know what I mean? Something that's very lacking in this society right now. We're living in a very effeminate culture, you know, there's emasculation of men. You know what I mean? And to deny, when you deny a family, you know what I mean? That's the first, you know, one of the, you know what I mean, the stripes of emasculation, you know what I'm saying? To deny a man is family. You know what I mean? Because I show any man who have a child, if you talk to him, you know what I'm saying, and you know what I mean, who is estranged from his child, you know what I mean, not living with his child, you know, but child with a mother, grandmother, whoever, you know, me ask him, you know what I mean, yo, when you was planning to make a child, did you ever, you know, did you plan to have a child outside of our family? And I'm sure 100% I'm gonna tell you, nah. That wasn't my idea, you know what I mean? That was not something I wanted, especially if they came from a home where they didn't have a father. They're gonna tell you, nah. That is not how, you know, that is not what you know, how they set out to have children or what they, you know what I mean? But circumstances, you know, happen, and, you know, but, you know, family, that's something, you know what I mean, that we have to, you know, and take into, and, you know, what the character it takes for maintaining family, because something, man, you know, sometimes most of your misery is just family. Sometimes your own, you know, you call your own family. So, you know, family is a broader issue. When it comes to us, family is a broader issue than just mother and father, husband and wife. You know, family was, you know, we gotta remember, was a village.
Yes, right.
You know, and that's something we, you know, we're forgetting that, you know, it takes a village is not a European motto. It's not a European saying. It's not a European fable. That's an African saying. It takes a village. You know what I'm saying? That's what we represent. Remember we used to call each other brother? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Instead of nigger, dog. You know what I mean? All that kind of stuff. You know, remember when, you know, what fight, you know, when, you know, we represented, you know, when people used to be like, you know, hey, you know, when you call each other brother, you know what I'm saying? And all that kind of stuff. No, white folks calling each other brother. You know what I mean? We call each other nigger. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, again, you know, is what our definition of family is going to be. You know what I mean? We have to have a broader definition, because it can't be just mother and father, because a lot of children come over with a mother and father. You know what I'm saying? So we have to, you know, go back to, you know, the original, a village. You know, so if a child grew up in a home without a mother and without a father, without a mom, when he go outside, he's supposed to be able to, you know what I mean, to have somebody out there that's going to show him the same love, the same attention as a mother and a father. So like I said, for us, you know, family have to be a broader issue. For the situation we're in, they have to become a broader issue, you know what I'm saying, than just, like I said, mother, father, husband, wife. You know what I'm saying? We have to, you know, there's a lot of women out there who, you know, needs, you know, somebody to, you know, take the initiative as a man in the life, not necessarily as a husband or somebody to, you know, to sleep with, you know what I'm saying, and, you know, just need a man, you know what I mean. And I think, you know, like I said, we go back to the simple things, you know what I mean, of just being able to, you know, have the care and the compassion to help one another, you know what I mean, look out for us, you know, then, you know, all these things are going to be solved, you know what I mean, gonna be, you know.
All the world problems will be solved.
Yes.
Yeah,
man. Soup, man, it's about 10 o'clock in about 9 seconds, man. Is it until night or what?
Until.
Ross, you know what that means? That means until. So you want to keep going, or you
Right, you know what I'm saying? You know, I'm here. It's been a long time. We're supposed to be here, you know. You know what I mean? I'm here. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Yes,
here.
sir.
All right, man. We'll go maybe another.
You got my 15 minutes of fame yet?
Yes, sir.
Over
Not yet. Not yet. You're over it.
You know, I ain't like nobody impose 15 minutes. You know what I mean?
But you run it. You run it as long. You see there. You see the live and direct.
Oh man.
Live and direct.
I'm gonna let you just continue on, man. You know.
Now, what's the questions? You know what I mean? I need some participation. You know what I'm saying?
Some questions.
Some structure.
Some structure. Some guidance. I don't know. Let's
And when we talk about that, you know, to keep on that family thing, you know, because I have a son, you know what I mean, and one of the things when I was going to school, you know what I mean, I used to go to the school every day with my son, you know, sitting in the class, and believe me, you know, we, like I said, we need to be broader in that family outlook, you know, because believe me, you know, a lot of children out there, man, you know, if you could just like look out for them, you know what I mean, and, you know, hey, you know what I mean, just sit down and just listen to them, you know what I mean, show them some kind of attention, man. You know, the children are not like how you know, we really try to present it to me, you know what I'm saying? It is because it's what's being shown to them, but, you know what I mean, take some time, man, just like be, you know, look out for a child out there, man, somebody, you know, yo, make a big difference, you know what I'm saying? Really, it makes a big difference, you know what I'm saying? So,
yeah,
it sure does.
Let me ask you another question that's off the wall here. Do you follow world politics, man?
Well, you see, That's again, and my whole, politics. No, we need to differentiate politics from governmental administration. You know what I mean? Politics is a Greek is a Greek philosophy. You know what I mean? It's a
Holy.
Greek system. You know what I'm saying? That with hindsight, it's a hindsight is 2020. You know what I'm saying? So when we look at hindsight, this Greek system is not really serving you know humanity, is not really serving anybody who is under us. I'm not when we're speaking about democracy. Democracy is something that the Greeks might give it a name, but it was an idea that's before Greek. You know what I mean? Nearly every culture, express, and practices some form of democracy. You know what I'm saying? So it's nothing new, but when we talk about politics, you know what I mean, we have, if we look at local, you know what I mean, we have Democrats, Republicans. Or let's look at, right here in the Virgin Islands, you know what I'm saying? Right here is a perfect example of why we need to squash this whole political and start something that's, that's going to serve us better. Because what's right now is not serving us, you know what I mean? This is Democrat, Republican, independent, you know what I mean? It negates creativity because as a Democrat, you have this Democratic platform. As a Republican, you have this Republican platform, or whatever. ICM or this ICM platform. You know what I mean? But what we really read now is creativity. And that can be provided by no platform. You know what I mean? And politics. Again, how did these things come and superimpose themselves on what's really governmental? What serves the people as far as the health administration, as far as feeling, as far as if what the certification hospital, as far as the educational, because educational system, man, when you go to school, man, the teachers, hey, the teachers, hey, we got to commend we got to, when you see a teacher. You got to give that teacher the utmost respect. It's like when you see the governor. It's like when you see the Pope. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I think that's the honor we need to start expressing to our teachers, because our teachers are under the most they're working under the most dire circumstances, and it seems like that's the first. That's when we're ready to lump, the failure of civilizations, like we want to throw it on teachers' shoulders, when really and truly we talk about, the school system is failing the students. Really, the school system is the only structure that certain children is in have any kind of contact with. It's the first time that, for the day that they had somebody, show any kind of care for them. You know what I mean?
Yes.
How was the day try to, provide something for them. The school is the only structure that a lot of children experience, for the day. You know what I mean? And so, we need to differentiate, like I said, what's necessary as far as education and teachers, and what's, what's not beneficial as far as how, this political, it seems like education has become political, and the political system is doing a great disservice to education, because I can't see how you could find money to, to raise the salaries for senators, governors, and these exorbitant salaries for, commissioners and stuff that's failing the community, and the very people who are holding together civilization, because right now civilization is supposed to flop. You know what I mean? The new civilization is supposed to rise. We don't necessarily need preachers. We don't necessarily need Democrats, Republicans. We don't necessarily need nothing from what we have right now, but teachers. That's the only thing we're going to need for the new civilization to rise. You know what I mean? It's teachers. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So, when we start, again, showing the honor and the first respect and the first honor for a teacher is as a parent. You know what I mean? When you show that child that love for education, or show that joy in education, not as a chore, not as a punishment, but as a basic necessity as a human being, you know what I'm saying? Then we're gonna see a change. We're gonna see because it's all there. There's nothing new. It's just for us to start marketing it. Just like they market their culture, or whatever new social behavior they want to market. We need, and like I said, that's why I think this program right here, is so beneficial, because with it's your perspective, it's just not only a talk show, but you have access to a media outlet where you could do a show, You know what I mean? You could have a play. You know what I mean? You have access to creativity right here with, you know what I mean, with it's your perspective, David Christian, Campbell Carter, you know what I'm saying? You have where you could come and say, I have this idea, you know what I'm saying? Because it's not the lack of creativity, it's an outlet, an initiative, to take advantage of these outlets, because this here is an outlet.
Right.
You could start a media group from right here, that rival Fox, ABC, and start putting out, ideas, whatever opinions, whatever, behavior, social behavior that we need to express from right here.
Yes.
This is a seed that could grow, and hey, I only pray that, for you brothers, that, hey, start taking advantage of it, because, hey, like I said, Marcus Garvey, when he went back to Jamaica, what he started getting into was, theater, like he started he realized that, he had a vision that, eventually life was going to start imitating art, and that's how they, more or less, impose certain behavior and, ideals out here. It's true, the media, and true, entertainment.
Right.
And so I'm not going to fight against entertainment and say something wrong with it. Is where is our perspective? Where is our contribution?
Yes.
That's all.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Man, it's about 8:08, man.
10:08.
I'm sorry, 10:08, 10:08, 10:08. Sorry about that. WasaI, man, one, thank you for coming out, man. You got to come back.
Well, I thank you for having me, you know what I'm saying, and I hope I didn't bore you all out there, because you're accustomed to having these big time senators and government, you know what I mean, governor.
We've had all kind of people, man.
All kind of big shots, you know what I mean. It's like, who the hell is this guy? You know what I mean? What? I even do what I used to see around the street. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Why we wasting time? You know what I mean? Looking, you know what I mean? But hey, I just happy, for y'all to have me here. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
for giving me a chance to share my.
You always welcome,
man.
man.
The doors are wide open. You know that
you're always
already.
welcome,
Yes, sir.
It's a long time coming, man. WasaI will be back for sure, man.
For sure.
That's kind of a, of a kind of a good way, of a real mannerly way of saying, getting rid of someone, yeah, your number is in the phone. We get to you,
We invite everybody back, man. We invite everybody back. I got a feeling you'll be back sooner than a lot of other people, if you know what I mean. But yeah, this real quick, man. This is the It's Your Perspective talk show. We're on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 8 p.m. until. My name is David, a.k.a. Kimba, a.k.a. Christian, alongside
Soup.
That's it right there, man. We're on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Got to go to our new website, streaming live from the vi.com to see the show. We'll be signing off in a few minutes, so you'll have to do that tomorrow at 8 o'clock. We do have a guest lined up. Just got to confirm. First thing in the morning, that's my task, is to confirm. And once it's been confirmed, we're ready to take off again. Hit us up on Twitter, VI Perspective. This is the high-tech, low-tech studio coming to you from an undisclosed location in the beautiful island of St. Croix, Virgin Islands.
Yes, sir.
And our guest tonight is WasaI, longtime friend.
WasaI.
WasaI. There he is right there, man. Thanks for coming out.
Class of 82 also. Class of 82.
That's right. Class of 82, man. Big up stuff.
Yeah, just put this supposed to be, where nobody know where your location. We're gonna just put a brother's age out there. I know they consider gray hair and but dang, you know what I mean? 82. Okay, this is 82, 2014. What? Yeah, I ain't ashamed, you know what I mean? 50 years old, that's a milestone. Yo, you know what I'm saying? We need to start present this to our brothers and sisters, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, you know what I mean? We could, live life, you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
but and if you're gonna die young, die for a reason, you know.
Yes,
Don't be afraid to die, afraid to go to prison, but you know what I mean, afraid to to
no
live,
guts, no glory.
Reason, you know what I'm
that's
saying?
it right there, man.
And living without a reason, you know what I'm saying? But hey, it's one love, because we're people of love, you know what I'm saying? And we just need to start expressing it to each other again, because like I say, it's not lost. It's there.
It's there?
Yeah.
It's there, man. Soup, any final words, man?
Well, you don't know me. One perfect love.
That's it right there, man. One perfect love, man. Our prayers and his blessings equals one perfect love, man. We out. We back tomorrow on Wednesday at 8 p.m. That's how it goes down, man. Peace.
That's the far right.
You know what?